Mom? Dad? I'm adopted. My parents ceased their activities. My mother, donned in a pearl necklace and earrings to match, stood upright. Upon both hands she wore oven mitts and a matching apron. Her teal sundress really did bring out the blue in her eyes. She closed the oven and removed the mitts, revealing perfectly manicured nails. My father sat his pipe on the end of the table and closed his book. His hair, just a touch of gray, was immaculate as ever. He wore a plaid shirt and a soft tan cardigan. He removed his reading glasses to look me in the face. Almost in unison they asked, "Why, dear? What makes you say that, honey?" Before them I stood, pressed khaki pants, tucked in button-down shirt, and my matching belt and shoes. I felt both as one with and detached from the people before me. I just know. I tried to sound confident, but at the same time, my confidence was lost to pubescence. Don't be ridiculous. My father stood in the light of our perfectly lit kitchen. He placed his hands on my shoulders and looked me in the eyes. "You're our daughter, and we love you." I studied the lines of his face, seeking no, pleading for a lie, but there was none. "Sit, dear," my mother interjected, opening the stove. "Dinner is nearly ready." I sat at our polished wood table and placed my napkin in my lap, an old habit from etiquette school. I felt my eyes moisten. "Are you sure?" I was able to ask, staring at the blank place on the table where my food would soon be. My mother placed prepared plates before my father and I. He said a brief grace for the table and began eating the roast and potatoes my mother had so delicately prepared. "Positive," he said, savoring his bite and wiping his lip. My mother sat last with her plate on the other side of the table to my left and took my hand. "You're our baby," she said, looking me in the eye and assuring me that I was her offspring. "Now, let's talk about something else. You haven't said hello to our guest." My eyes and face were wet and red. I stared across the table. The woman before me was tied to her chair. Ropes ran from her throat to her feet, keeping her from any free moment. Across her mouth was tightly wound duct tape, and her head had slumped forward. The only appendage not tied down was her right arm. It was not a kindness extended, but rather unneeded. Her right arm was severed below the shoulder. Blood was still actively pouring from the poor bandaging, and soaking her side deep red. Her eyes had rolled into the back of her head in a loss of consciousness from the extreme pain she had just endured. My parents shared a laugh over it being seasoned so well. I took off the sit again and cried out in a whisper, "Please tell me I'm adopted."